of course, I know the three of us and educators all over the world are often thinking about service, how to develop service learning, what service learning looks like. But sometimes we need to talk with members of our communities, particularly the parents, as well as places that students may go on to after the school that we're in. And they might ask, well, I don't understand this. Why are my children doing that? Surely they should be in the classroom doing other things.
Why should my children do that? That's very...
Yeah. So what would you say are the benefits of service learning, the impacts of service learning on the young people in our schools?
Oh, wow. You're asking good questions, Malcolm. So I'm taken back to a trip last fall when I was in Shanghai, and I was actually doing a parent night on service learning. And I had a group of, a lovely group of parents who came to really find out about what service learning was and to get this question, so why should I do this? So I was taking them through understanding enough about the process and giving some examples. And I think they were understanding that there's a lot of learning that happens when youth are connected to real world situations and concerns. That our learning, the more we confine it, the more we're confining thinking, we're confining who our young people grow to be. So it's really more about how to help them be proactive and thinkers and problem solvers in real context. That's part of the benefit. And I was sharing an example of a 4th grade class at this school in Concordia, where some students had been doing some real world interviews of people in the streets to learn what it was like to be living in a place that was not your original home, what it's like to move to a new place. It was part of their unit of study. And all of a sudden, there were a couple of children who'd gone with their parents to this conversation. And I saw this one boy light up when I talked about this 4th grade project. So I just stopped for a minute and I took a risk and I said, were you involved in that in your classroom? And he said, yes. He was a 5th grader now. I'd been the prior year. I said, would you come up and tell us about it? And these 2 boys, unrehearsed, unprepared. And usually we have youth speaking in front of adults. They're prepared, they're rehearsed, they've got a script. These 2 boys just came up, took the microphone, and did this extraordinary description of what he learned going out and doing interviews on the streets, how scared he was to do this, and how much the students had to work and prepare and practice, how much confidence they gained. Well, you could see confidence pouring out on this child because he had done that experience and he had a story to tell. It was unbelievable. I think every parent in the room, I couldn't sell them on the idea, the kids sold them on the value because he brought the experience to life. And then I said, and then I heard you went back and edited these interviews you did and actually made a video that could be useful for the for recruitment of new families. I said, would you like to tell about the video? And he seamlessly handed the microphone to the other boy and said, would you like to tell about this part? And these 2 young people who by their own admission would not have had this level of confidence without having had this experience, sold service learning for me. So what it does on so many layers, and I mentioned before, it increases knowledge because people have a context in which to put what they're learning. It increases skills because they're learning lifelong skills that you need to be an effective employee or an innovator. And it also increases our perspectives and dispositions of who we are and how we function. So it's so many aspects of personal development at the same time that otherwise may not be happening. So I talk a lot in service learning about transferable skills.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the teacher ends up doing more than the students. If you go in a classroom and you see the teacher doing more than the students, you know they're not learning the incremental skills they need.
Who's working hardest?
Yes.
What was that?
Who's working hardest?
Exactly. And for years, I asked teachers that, when you're doing service learning, who's putting more into it? The teachers or the students? And most of the time, the teachers say it's 80% teachers and 20% students. And I even had a teacher in a workshop in Texas. I said, I started talking about service learning and she just burst out. She says, I hate service learning.
Oh.
Literally.
Yeah.
I got hysterical. I thought that was hilarious. I'm from Texas, so I can handle it. So she said, I said, well, tell me more, which is always the best question to ask. You're not judging them. She said, well, I'm a high school teacher. And when I was leading service learning with the students, I had to call up and make arrangements for this bus. And I had to do that. She started a litany of things
Yes.
Yeah.
she had to do.
Yeah.
And The time she mentioned the fifth thing, everyone in the room was hysterical laughing. I didn't even have to say it. She said, "Oh my gosh, I was doing all the things the students could have been doing." Of course she hated service learning. It was more work for her.
Was she counting hours and credits as well?
Yeah, she should have been logging her hours, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So if instead you give the students the skills, and students eat these skills up. They learn them quickly because these are practical, useful skills. So service learning will sell itself to parents if it's done well in a school and all the voices come to life. The youth tell why it's a value, the teachers tell why it's a value, and the learning is elevated. You know, and I remember this was another Texas story. A principal in a middle school said he never had so many phone calls from parents about what are you doing that's because there was good going on in the community. They were doing all this work about veterans in the community, and the kids were so excited they were going home and talking to their parents about school nonstop. Now, you know, most middle school students, if you say, "How was school today?" what do they say?
Fine, or if you ask them, "What did you learn?" Nothing. What did you do? Nothing.
It will be one word anyway.
Nothing.
Right. These kids are going home and exploding at the kitchen table. So this principal said, "I got 40 phone calls from parents saying, 'What's going on? My kid's so excited.'"
Yeah.
Yeah, as the father of two teenage children, if we can get more than a word okay or good, then we're getting somewhere.
So imagine doing something in a school that is generating a level of excitement and engagement. The kids can't wait to come home and tell parents or interview them or find something out or getting to task. And that's what happens. And students will look out for each other. They'll work more collaboratively. It's really it's a process. And also, I must say one more thing. We have to make the process transparent.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't the only ones who understand service learning. It should be the students say, "Oh, now we're investigating. Oh, now we're preparing. Now we're taking action." If we give them the language, we're giving them the language of learning and being able to transfer that into other environments. So
that's a great point. And ultimately the impact is we're changing attitudes, we're developing skills, and it's a preparation for now and for the future.
Right. Because it's like if you go work for Google, let's say, you can't just Google it. You need to have other ways of doing research. You need to have ways to connect with the community.
Yeah.
So, and we just have to maintain that perspective. We're not doing to people, we're doing with. We're building relationships, and that's what really matters here.
Yeah, and hopefully developing global citizens who've got compassion and will make the world a better place. Right. So thank you very, very much, Cathy. It's just wonderful to chat with you, and even you as well, Sally.
Cathy, we really appreciate your expertise, and it's been wonderful learning from you and working with you, and I hope it continues, and
yes,
we'll certainly be featuring your articles, and your resources will be up on the Tracker website as well as on Cathy's website. And maybe if people are interested, let us know if you'd like to see a more in-depth webinar, which would involve learning, would involve interaction from other teachers, connecting with other teachers. If that's something that interests you, please let us know in the comments or send us an email. And keep watching this space.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.